Hello, everyone. On behalf of Amanda Thompson, Carol Capello, and myself, Teresa Curatolo, I would like to welcome you to the first of what we hope to be many discussions about what it's like selling real estate with a pandemic going on. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce you to the whole team that is here with us this evening. Tony Curatolo, Bernadette Webster, Margaret Boylan, Shannon Smith, Janice Scordato, Steffi Schleider, and Tracy Ely. You will be learning from the 6 team members about listing and buying during these times. And Bernadette will be starting us off with talking about listing your property. Bernadette, you have the floor.
Hey, everybody. So now that we are really immersed in this pandemic and we've got a whole new set of rules and a new way of doing business, we really have to understand our clients in a different way, and we have to understand their anxieties as well as it relates to the pandemic and the restrictions. Everyone has a different sort of level of anxiousness about it. So what I've been doing and our team in particular has been doing is we really have tried to put everyone's safety, in the forefront. And when we meet with our clients, my listing clients, we make sure that we're observing all the things we need to observe. We wear our masks, we wear our gloves and booties when we go to meet with them. And we make sure that we are distanced when we meet with them. I was meeting with a client last night and we actually sat outside because it was nice. And we sat, apart, and we did our business, and we talked about what we needed to talk about the house and how they wanted to move forward with listing the house and what their expectations of me were and so forth. But it's not only their expectations of me and selling their house, but it's their expectations of, do they want people to come into their house now knowing what the restrictions are, and how do they want people to come into their house? So we've got to take all those feelings into account now and make sure that we are doing what they expect. So we kind of tackle it 2 different ways. I now do virtual open houses. So we don't have traditional open houses, at least currently, where we would typically go and sit in a house after we've advertised it and have people come in and physically see the house. So we'll go and I film it and I do a virtual showing of the house, and I'll have people call in and ask questions and show it that way. And then I've got that for the future, and I can boost it and show it on the internet, and I can post it on social media. That's worked really well for us, actually, and we've gotten a lot of activity from that. So I'll do things like that. If the house is vacant, obviously a lot easier to allow people in. If the house isn't vacant, what we do is people hopefully will be looking at the virtual open houses and sort of narrowing down their perspective on what they want to purchase. And then we allow them in one at a time. They've got to observe the same precautions. They''ve got to wear their booties, their gloves, their masks. We try to make sure all the lights are on so they don't need to touch anything. They walk around the home, get a feel, really no touching of anything. They wipe everything down. And of course, then they leave, and we try to make sure everything is clean so that when the homeowners come back, it's as they left it, and they can feel safe that nothing has been transmitted. So we really do have to think outside the box. We have to think outside the box in how we market the house now, because it's just nothing is traditional at this point like it was before the pandemic hit. We really need to keep that in mind with our listing clients. Up next to talk about our buying clients is Steffi Schleider.
Hey guys, so I'm going to talk about the buying side of real estate. And during COVID, we like to take all the safety precautions like wearing masks, gloves, and constantly sanitizing. Another reason a buyer needs a realtor during this time is due to the amount of bidding wars going on. We use our best negotiating skills to make sure you get the home you so badly want. Lastly, requirements keep changing due to the mortgage. Lastly, mortgage requirements keep on changing due to the fluctuation in the stock market. So we like to confirm that the mortgage pre-approval is still okay, so no one is disappointed at the end. And here's Janice with why you need an attorney.
The question often comes up, do I really need a lawyer? Well, buying and selling is a complicated process. It involves contracts, paperwork, researching title, liens, and various addendums. A real estate lawyer's job is to protect you in the buying and selling process. They understand the laws and they can tell you if a contract is faulty. A realtor can't. A lawyer will protect you from losing a deposit. Again, a realtor can't do that. Negotiating on your behalf is another reason why you should have a lawyer. Realtors are legally not permitted to do or say anything which might be misconstrued as practicing law. We as realtors do not have legal authority to protect you. We will do everything we can to protect you, but there's a line that we can't cross, and a lawyer can do that. Lawyers also keep the process moving, and right now with COVID, that's very important because there's a lot of things that are not happening quickly, such as getting a mortgage, getting the title work done, having somebody come for a home inspection, getting your certificate of occupancy. All of these things are being delayed right now, and a lawyer can work to get them moving so that you don't have delays that you don't need to have. It's also important because the very last thing that you do is have a final walkthrough. And if there's a problem with the walkthrough and you don't have a lawyer, your deal is probably going to be done. And all of that work in the house that you want or the house that you want to buy or sell, all of a sudden you can't. But a lawyer will help you work through that process. We don't want the sale to stop. We want it to keep going. That's why you want a lawyer. Any issue that might come up, the lawyer will help you. Realtors are limited, again, in what we can do. So the best way to protect yourself and your interests when buying or selling a house is to hire a lawyer. And now Margaret is going to tell you about the home inspection.
Hey everyone. Although many businesses have been shut down due to the pandemic, real estate was deemed essential, and so we are still working, and we are very busy. We did have to pivot on how we handle the transactions to be in compliance with the executive order. One of the processes that has changed dramatically is the home inspection. Yes, you should still get a home inspection. Remember, your home is likely your biggest investment. So what's changed? We have a couple of variables, whether the home is vacant or occupied, and how the inspector wants to handle it. One thing that needs to be done by both sides during the pandemic is both the buyer and the seller will be asked to sign a COVID addendum, which in a nutshell means that they have not had the virus or not have been exposed to the virus that they know of. Okay, so our inspectors. Some of the inspectors have chosen to do the inspections on their own with nobody in the home with them. If they handle it that way, then the buyer will have to rely on the report that comes from the inspector along with the pictures that come from the inspector. Some inspectors are allowing some people with them, just limiting the number of people that come in, and they also require them to wear the personal protective equipment. There are some sellers who are setting limits on the number of people that they were permitting at the inspections as well. It's up to the realtor to get this information to the seller so they know of any restrictions. To the buyers, so they know of any restrictions. When hiring an inspector, buyer needs to ask how the inspector is handling the inspection at this time, and if they may be present, and if there are any other restrictions. The Jersey Girls groups are wearing masks and gloves, beautiful shoe coverings when we provide access to the home. We turn on all the lights, we open all the doors. This way the amount of surfaces that the inspector has to touch are limited. If the home is occupied, we do ask the resident to stay out of the home during the inspection. If they decide that they need to remain in the home, they're asked to wear personal protective equipment and to stay socially distant. If the home is not occupied, that does not mean there are not restrictions. Your realtor needs to check and find out with the seller and find out if there are any restrictions. Before and after an inspection, all of the door handles, light switches, counter and sink tops, appliance handles, and everything else that they might touch are sanitized by the Jersey Girls. Thus, we carry our spray disinfectant, our wipes, the ever-present hand sanitizer. So you want to make sure before attending an inspection that there are no restrictions. Check with your agent and the inspector. Up next to talk about the appraisal process is Tony Caratola.
Hi, everyone. The appraisal. We're almost at the end of the process. It's usually completed after the home inspection, and it's conducted by the mortgage or the bank, the mortgage company or the bank sets the appointment, and as realtors, we meet the appraiser at the property. We let them in if they're going in. Usually appraisals were always done internally, but since the pandemic that we're experiencing, a lot of the appraisals are being done just externally. And that is they measure the length times the width of the house, and then they do figure out what the square footage is. They'll take pictures of the house, the exterior part, and take pictures of the property. The appraiser will then go back to his office and look at the most recent closed similar properties. And that means if you're buying a ranch, the appraiser is going to look at other ranches. If your house is 3 bedrooms, he's going to look at, or she is going to look at 3-bedroom houses. And that's how they're going to do the appraisal. At the appraisal, I always have a copy of the contract, and I always offer it to the appraiser. Sometimes they take it, sometimes they don't. It's just up to the individual appraiser. If for some reason your appraisal doesn't come up to the price that you're buying the house for or you're getting the mortgage for, you can appeal it or get another appraisal. Also, the buyer can bring more money to the table, meeting the mortgage amount, or if you're lucky, the seller will lower their price so you can meet the mortgage amount. In any event, the mortgage amount has to be met by the appraiser. And we're going to go to the keys, which is going to be Shannon Smith.
Thanks, Tony. So Bernadette has walked us through the process of how we're handling listings. Steffi has talked with us about how she is showing homes to buyers. Janice has explained why it's necessary to have a real estate attorney. Bernadette reviewed the necessity of having a home inspection and how that process is working during this pandemic. And Tony has explained a little bit about the appraisal process. So now you have reached the closing table. Today is the day that you're going to close on your house. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to meet at the property, and we're going to do what's called the final walkthrough. The purposes of a final walkthrough is to make sure that everything that was supposed to be included in the purchase of the home, things like light fixtures, dishwashers, anything that you agreed would still be left in the home is in fact still there. Once we've had our final walkthrough, we want to check to make sure the property is what we call broom clean. Then we're going to go and meet with your attorney and the title company. Now, it used to be that everybody would be in one room, but now during this pandemic, a lot of title companies are not allowing anyone other than the buyer and their attorney. So what the Jersey Girls will do for you is we want to make sure you're going to get your keys. So if we're not allowed in the room, we will wait outside for you in the parking lot. You're going to sign all your paperwork, all your mortgage papers, any other addendums that need to be signed. You're going to hand over your money for your closing costs. And this is important. Please make sure it's a certified check. Do not bring cash to your closing. It will not be accepted. Do not bring a personal check. You will have to go out to the bank, interrupt your closing, go out to the bank to get a certified bank check to hand over to the title company. So now you've signed all the papers. You've handed over your closing costs, certified check, and they are going to fax all the paperwork. And then when they get a confirmation that your funds have been received, you come outside, you see me in the parking lot, and I will hand you the keys to your new house. Congratulations.
Well, that wraps up our first discussion on what is taking place in real estate at this time. I want to thank everybody for participating. I hope that you enjoy it. A special thank you to Tony and Margaret, Bernadette, Shannon, Janice, Seffi, and Amanda and Carol who are here. I hope that you see why we love this team so much and why that we always feel that they're go above and beyond for their clients. And I just, you know, if you want to reach out to list your house, sell your house, or just find out some information about what's going on in the market, you can give us a call at Crossroads Realty, the Jersey Girl Group, 732-920-5400. And you can ask for any one of the people that you saw here, you know, on this Zoom meeting. Thank you and have a great evening.